Kia ora, I'm Nick Morrison from Go Well Consulting, and this is a video blog on the topic of B Corp. Before I go any further, just a quick reminder about these videos that we do. So in the age of AI, we really want to prove this original content. So this is a uninterrupted video that I will be recording. Following that, we then use AI to review the transcript from this video and create a written blog to help those who prefer to read what they learn, or maybe a bit short on time. Just quickly, also at the end of that written blog, you will find any links to resources or sources of information that I refer to in this video. Due to the nature of B Corp and the sort of some of the technical stuff here, please do excuse me as I refer to my notes throughout this video. If you want to speed me up, find I'm talking a bit slowly, use the speed up function on your video player and you can see what I sound like as a chipmunk, and also get through the content a little bit quicker. All right, today, finally, is the 14th of July, 2025. So, B Corp. Firstly, you should just declare that Go Well Consulting is a certified B Corporation or B Corp. We achieved that certification back in 2023. And this year I were qualified as a trained B consultant. So I've been through the official training that B Corp offer. So hopefully got a little bit of knowledge about this to share. Lastly, should also just disclose that we have helped businesses through the B Corp and achieving B Corp as well. So B Corp is one of many frameworks that we reference at Go Well Consulting. There's plenty out there, and we've sort of chosen half a dozen or so that we think are the best and most applicable to the businesses that we work with. And like all of them, B Corp has got its pros and its cons. I think it's the most robust and challenging sustainability certification there is out there, and I think it's incredibly credible. But yeah, with that comes challenges, and by no means is it perfect. So I'll sort of talk to some of those pros and cons throughout this video. Firstly, just want to give you a bit of history. So B Corp was founded in America about 19 years ago by 3 college friends. A year after that, they had certified 81 founding B Corps. The latest stats I can find is that they've now certified 9,939 businesses across 160 industries in 103 countries, and they estimate that covers almost 1 million workers. So it's by no means insignificant, but still a long way to go when we think about the scale of the global economy and all those businesses out there. So B Corp is the certification, and if a business achieves that certification, they become a certified B Corporation, or B Corp for short. What does that B stand for? Benefit for all. So, which means certified B Corps care about not just profit, but they care about people and the planet. They care about how they make that profit, and they care about what they do with that profit. And they talk a lot about in B Corp stakeholder economy, not just a shareholder economy. So basically that means being mindful and aware and engaged and connected with all those that your business impacts, or who impact your business, not just the shareholders. B Lab is the non-profit organisation behind the certification, and there are now 13 satellite B Labs around the globe servicing those local markets, with the global team being based in Philadelphia, USA. New Zealand and Australia are cared for by B Lab Australia Aotearoa New Zealand, and there are over 740 businesses certified as B corporations across both of those countries. B Lab Australia Aotearoa New Zealand did some fantastic research in the awareness and understanding of B Corp amongst consumers in these markets, and also how that impacts the B Corp certification, how it impacts consumer purchasing decisions. So really recommend that you take a look at that research yourself, and you'll be able to find that link at the bottom of the written blog for this video. The intent of B Corp is to build a movement of global businesses that are using their business to help build a better economic system, or as B Corp like to say, use business as a force for good. When B Corp talk about a better economy, they use the terms inclusive, equitable, and regenerative. So how does the B Corporation or the B Corp certification work? Well, that's a bit of a tricky question to answer right now because they've just brought out new standards that become mandatory in 2026. So businesses who want to become B Corp past January the 1st, 2026 will have to go through these new standards. If businesses want to achieve B certification on the current standards, they must do it before December 31st this year, 2025. So this is not the first time they've updated the standards. The current ones are actually version 6, and this will be turning it to version 7. And they're just wanting to constantly improve the certification and continuously make it more impactful and more suitable to more businesses. And that's one of the challenges for any certification, and which B Corp are trying to manage. How do we shift the needle? How do we get businesses to actually use business as a force for good, while making it as accessible and inclusive for as many businesses as possible? It would not work well if there was only a few dozen really passionate and morally robust businesses doing B Corp. We need scale, and we need lots of businesses doing lots of things. So that's definitely one of the challenges B Corp have to navigate. I think they do a really good job of it, but it's definitely comes up with some contentious issues, and there's definitely people out there who are opposed to B Corp. There's definitely businesses that have been certified as a B Corp who have pulled out of the certification, and I would encourage you to do a bit of research that yourself, really, and just have a look at those who have pulled out and their reasons for doing that. That's not what we're doing at Go Well Consulting. We want to put our weight behind this and help B Corp further develop and grow, but with that caveat that it is just one of many sort of frameworks out there, and we will advise each business based on their capacity, on the maturity of their sustainability journey, on their budgets, and so on and so forth, whether or not B Corp's right for them, and whether it's right for them perhaps in the future as opposed to right now. So the current standards, in simple terms, you have to achieve a score of 80 points out of about 220 is generally what's accepted as the highest score. No one gets anywhere near that, but 80 is the critical pass mark that you need to get. They score you across 5 key areas: governance, workers, community, environment, and customers. So B Corp provide a free tool, which is one of the really great elements of this certification. It's called the B Impact Assessment Tool, or the BIA. And anyone is free to go in there, create an account and go through it and see where their score currently sits. The way they structure it is that there's a series of different tracks that different size businesses in different industries can go down, so that small consultancy businesses like us can go down it and get more, I guess, fairly scored compared to, say, a large agricultural business who is going to have significantly more environmental impacts than we are. So at the start of the BIA, you answer some qualifying questions and you go down a particular track. It is quite critical that you get that track right, because it reframes and restructures how the questions are delivered to you as an organisation. So if you are a bit unsure, I'd recommend either reaching out to B Corp themselves and just checking that you're on the right track, or speak to a B consultant. I know one who could help you and make sure you get that, you're set up on the right pathway. It's not the end of the world if you go down the wrong track, but it just causes some unnecessary pain and double handling of your work that you'll have to do. So when you go into the BIA and you answer your questions, let's say it's an environmental question, and let's use, for example, your emissions, your greenhouse gas emissions. For every question, they give increasingly more points for the answer that you give. So, for example, do you map your greenhouse gas emissions? If you just say yes, we do, you get some points for that. If you say yes, we do, and we get them third-party verified, you get more points. If you say yes, we do, we get them third-party verified, and we have a reduction plan to bring them down, you get even more points again. Okay, and so that same model goes across all the questions, and so you get collectively more, or you just the points build for the better outcomes or better answer you can give, which in turn means the better impact that you're having. So in addition to the standard point scoring system that you have across those 5 key areas, there's also what they call IBMs, or impact business models, and these provide additional points, and sometimes quite a considerable amount of points. And these are for businesses that can prove that their business model actually improves or has significant positive impacts. So, for example, again, let's using greenhouse gas emissions as an example. Your business model or your business product significantly reduces emissions for others, and you can show how that's done, or you operate your business in a way that others in your industry don't, and significantly reduces your emissions or other impacts. That might also be impacts that you have on your own staff, or your customers, or others in your community. So at GoWell, we got a lot of IBM points because we are a sustainability consultancy, and we are helping other businesses improve their sustainability performance, and therefore helping them have better, more positive impact. So once you've gone through and you've completed the BIA, it'll take you about 2 to 3 hours, probably the first time you do it, and you definitely want someone who knows the business really, really well, who's been there a long time, and has a really good understanding of the business, or you want multiple people to go through it, and you might sort of just get different people who are more across different aspects of the business to answer each one of those key areas. But yeah, it does take time to go through and answer those questions. Once you've done that, you look at your score. Assuming you've got over 80 points, you're then ready to submit your score. They recommend that you aim for sort of 85 points, because during that verification process, it's very common that about 5 points are lost. So I'd follow that advice. Also, when you go through the application phase and submitting, you'll see in the BIA tool that you can upload documents and proof that to your answers. So you might have a sustainability report that you can reference, or you might have that third-party greenhouse gas emission report that's been verified. You can upload that, so on and so forth. So when it comes time, once you've submitted, you then sit back and wait for B Lab to reach out to you and say, hey, we're ready to now verify you, and take you through that verification process. That time from submitting to getting contacted by B Corp verification is, we're being told, it's around about 8 to 12 months now. So that is quite a long time. And a bit of a hack that B consultants will tell you about is you can actually use that time to do some of the work that you might need to do. So for example, you might say that you have a diversity, equity, inclusion policy. You don't actually at the time of submitting, but you've got 8 to 12 months to pull that together and get that across the business. So definitely you kind of want to make that wait time work for you. Equally, highly advise not going into that verification having said that you've got policies or strategies in place, and then not having them done by the time that verification comes around. So it's a bit of a gamble, but it's also, yeah, a good way to sort of be efficient with your time. And again, that might be where you want the help from a B consultant, or talk to someone who's gone through the process before, just to hear a bit more advice on that. The verification process itself involves someone from the B Lab Global team going through your application and looking at those documents that you've included and uploaded. And then they will meet with you over a video call and go through the application with you, and they'll have certain questions to ask. They would have looked into you, and depending on what industry you're in, what track you've gone down, what size business you are, they'll have varying questions just to do their due diligence and make sure that you are doing what you've said you'd do. And that's definitely a key element of B Corp that can be different to other certifications out there, that really the high level of due diligence and checking that you are doing what you've said you do. And that adds to the robustness of the certification and the credibility that it gives to all the businesses that achieve it. So let's assume it all went well. You passed your 80 points, you submitted, you went through the verification, you answered all the questions correctly, you had all the proof, and you are now a certified B Corp. They will then give you the various brand assets that you can then use and give you really clear advice on how to use that. It doesn't stop there. One of the great things about B Corp is they want continuous improvement. So you have to recertify every 3 years. But of course, in 3 years' time, it'll now be the new standards. So, second half of this video, I'm now going to talk to you about the new standards. And I guess full disclosure right at the start, currently going through training with B Lab Australia, Aotearoa New Zealand, all B consultants in these markets are to understand these new standards. So they are new. They got launched a few months ago now, and we're all working through about a 900-page documents to understand the changes and what that means for current B Corps and future B Corps and where it's all moving. So all this information is very new, and all B consultants are working their way through this at the moment. So yeah, with that said, basically some key points to note is that first and foremost, there's going to be no more points. Well, there's not going to be a scoring system as in get past 80 points or hey, you achieved a score of 102 or whatever. That's all gone. Instead, they're going to have what they call foundation requirements and eligibility requirements. And then from that, they have further requirements as well that you have to achieve. So what are the foundation requirements? Firstly, a company must be legally incorporated. That's no change from current standards. It must be legally incorporated, must be in operation for 12 months, and comply with all local and national laws. Yeah, so none of that's actually different from the current standards. This next one is, so you must commit to the stakeholder governance. That was an optional choice in the current standards, and it was worth a lot of points, 10 to be exact, which is a lot in the scheme of it. But now there's no choice. You must adopt that B Corp legal requirement to ensure accountability to all stakeholders, and also to ensure that you're embedding stakeholder governance principles into legal frameworks and signing the B Corp Declaration of Interdependence. So yeah, for some businesses, that's no problem. Smaller, founder-led businesses like Go Well Consulting, that's easy. Have a chat with the team, everyone's on board, make those changes. For businesses that are bigger, have more complex governance structures, that could hit some hurdles. So definitely get onto that early and start socializing that across the organization for those that can foresee some challenges coming around there, or maybe need some in the organization to have a sort of change of mind, I guess. So definitely look into that governance requirement and that B Corp Declaration of Interdependence early on in the journey. In addition to those two eligibility or foundation requirements, a business must then conduct a risk assessment. So companies will need to create risk profiles on the impact, the BIA tool, and then determine the number of additional due diligence sub-requirements that the company must meet. So they're basically saying, hey, before you go any further, let's just check what kind of business you are, and are there some high-risk actions that you're taking, high-risk industries that you're involved with, high-risk kind of governance structures that you might be following. So that's the next stage, go through that due diligence. And the areas that a business is then assessed across following that is now 7 different impact topic requirements, is what they call them. So it's changed from the 5 in the current standards to now 7. And these are purpose and stakeholder governance, fair work, justice, equity, diversity and inclusion, human rights, climate action, environmental stewardship and circularity, and government affairs and collective action. So for further info and breakdown of each one of those 7 areas, again, see the links at the bottom of the written blog that goes with this video. So now, or as of January 2026, to become a B Corp, companies will need to take action across the foundation and impact topic requirements. The specific requirements that a company must fulfill will depend on its size, sector and industry, ranging from 20 to 124 requirements to be certified. Also, your company's location determines your eligibility for what they call equity mechanism. So that's acknowledging that companies based in more developed countries such as New Zealand and Australia are typically in a better position for achieving B Corp than a company in a developing country, where often the legal structures and the legislation around environment and social impacts are often less or not as strictly enforced. So they've come up with this equity or geographical equity mechanism. And again, I'd check the links and dive into that if you want to know more. But for Australia and New Zealand, you don't need to worry about that too much. As I mentioned, B Corp are big on continuous improvement. They say raising the bar for impact. And that hasn't changed with those new standards. So B Corps are expected to continuously improve their impact. So the new standards integrate mandatory improvement actions. During the certification journey, companies are expected to advance their actions over a 5-year period. Initially, companies must meet the year 0 requirements, sort of what I talked to just before, and then gradually comply with the year 3 and year 5 requirements. So they're wanting B Corps to remain at the forefront of responsible and progressive business. The last major change to note is that there's no longer IBMs, those impact business models, due to just the complexity of that and the challenges around trying to include that. They've decided not to, but the information we're getting is that they might include that in future iterations of the new standards. And also that those that have achieved the impact business model IBMs under the current version, like ourselves, will still have this displayed in the B Corp directory to sort of acknowledge that. But moving forward, it won't be part of the points or part of whether you achieve certification or not. So in summary, B Corp certification is undergoing significant changes as it tries to navigate that very tricky tightrope between pushing boundaries to help solve our huge global problems, while not making the certification too exclusive that only a few businesses certify. And also, while not letting the certification be gamed by larger corporations, as some have accused them of doing, as I said earlier in the video. And again, encourage you to do your own research and look into some of those who are outspoken against B Corp and feel it's not for them, I guess. So why would you want to certify as B Corp? It's a great question. It's worth asking, and it's worth talking about with your team members, your colleagues, because it does take time and it does require effort and resource to achieve. And for us at Go Well Consulting, that's right. It should be challenging. It should not just be a stamp that everyone gets. This is about shifting the needle and making sure business is a force for good, and elevating yourself as a business above others who are not following that kind of those principles, I guess. It will definitely improve your sustainability performance if you go down this path. Whether you even get and achieve it, finish it off and achieve it and get that certification or not, it's still going to have a positive impact on your business and on your sustainability performance. And it'll give you a good indication of how you're tracking. So we've worked with businesses who went through the BIA and got a score of around 30 points. So they were way off passing, but it's given them really clear actions on what they need to do and gave them lots of great ideas, and for the first time helped them start understand what good looked like and what was their end destination. In saying that, really want to stress that B Corp is not the final destination. It is just a certification along the journey. It's a good pat on the back, but it's by no means the final destination. We often advise to businesses, if you don't have the resources or the budget to work with consultants like ourselves, B Corp is a really great standard to use as a way to develop your own policies and strategies around sustainability. So you can go through, use the free BIO tool, and get a really good gauge on where you're at, just like the example I gave, really. So for those who don't have the bigger budgets, recommend using it as a good guidance on what you should be doing and aiming for. So also you kind of want to think about, is B Corp well recognized? Are you going to get the brand equity that you want for the effort you put into it? And to answer that question, you have to really do a bit of research. Again, see the links at the bottom of the written blog that we've provided. But have a wee look into the markets that you serve and how well B Corp is known. It is on the up. It is getting more and more well recognized and well known. But you want to do that research yourself and just understand the potential brand equity and the negatives potentially that could come from that as well. So when I'm having a look at what are industry peers doing, is it everyone in the industry's got it now, and if you don't, it kind of looks a bit odd, or is there a chance to get ahead or be seen as getting ahead? Yeah, all those things to ponder. Yeah, look, ultimately, the question that you need to answer is, will this benefit our business? Will we be a better business for this? Not just the certification itself and the B beside your brand, but will the process and going through it help our business progress for the future, acknowledging that we globally are facing a lot of hugely challenging problems, crises, and we can't just keep on with business as usual. And yeah, this is a really great way, we believe, for the right businesses to make sure they're on the right path. So lastly, just want to talk about how Go Well Consulting can help you. So as I mentioned, we have been certified as a B Corp since 2023. I'm now a qualified B consultant and going through all the training on the new standards. And yeah, if you don't want to do the B Corp, if you decide it's not for you, then we can also help you develop bespoke strategies and plans and a whole lot more than that. So jump on our website and have a look at all the other services we offer, and particularly year one, which is the brilliant for businesses who kind of need all those foundations in place to make sure you can really move forward with confidence in your sustainability journey. That's it. Thank you so much for listening. If you've got any questions, please reach out. gowellconsulting.co.nz has got lots of information on there as well. And really look forward to hearing from you. All the best. Thank you.